Back in my senior year of high school, I often stayed in the library during study hall to work on computer science homework. One day, a classmate sat next to me, a pale, silent boy, with long black hair that covered one eye. He wore a ripped jean jacket, Doc Martens, and an anti-flag shirt. No one ever talked to him, and I hadn't either until that day. He glanced at me like I had personally offended him. I looked away, awkwardly rummaging through my bag. That's when I heard him chuckle and mumble something I couldn't catch. I figured he was just frustrated with his coding. Trying to lighten the mood, I joked about the heavy workload. Without looking at me, he asked, "You want the answers, don't you?" I laughed nervously and said no. He gave off such an eerie vibe that I couldn't bear to look at him. When I glanced over again, he was gone. But he'd left behind a Swiss Army flash drive. I waited for him, but he never came back. The next day and the next week, he was absent. Eventually, he just stopped showing up. Years passed. I returned home from college for a funeral and remembered the flash drive. Curious, I plugged it in. There were folders for computer science assignments, music with only 3 songs, and one called AP Literature, filled with essays. But the strangest was a document titled The Best, which was just 10 pages of his name repeated over and over. Then I saw photos of emergency exit plans in classrooms, coins on a bathroom floor with a post-it that read "Chump Change," and even a candid photo of me reading in English class, a class he wasn't in. The final file was called Rest in Peace 2, but it was completely blank. I don't know if it was a joke, a cry for help, or something more sinister. But he never came back, and I never forgot that flash drive. When I was 12, my best friend Ali and I were obsessed with the paranormal. We believed every shadow had a story, and every creak in the floorboards meant something. We used to hunt ghosts with a flip phone and our imaginations. That night, it was just like any other weekend, staying up late, talking about hauntings, and daring each other to explore the dark corners of my old house. My basement had always freaked us out. It wasn't your typical finished basement. It was old, cold, and built like a bunker. There was a massive storage room, a laundry room, and a third space at the very end. We never went in there. It was small, windowless, and gave off the worst kind of energy. That night, we brought my dad's touchscreen phone to record a real ghost hunt. We asked the usual questions. Is anyone here? Can you give us a sign? We tiptoed into that last room but found nothing. Or so we thought. Later, huddled in my room, we replayed the footage. The first time through, nothing. But something felt off. So we watched it again. And that's when we saw it. Behind Ali, in the frame, was something. Something inhuman. A figure, blurred and contorted, its glowing wide eyes locked on the camera. On us. It wasn't just looking into the lens. It was watching. We dropped the phone. We couldn't scream. We couldn't move. We just stared at each other, pale and frozen. We told no one. Not our parents, not our friends. But we never went back into that basement again. And sometimes, even now, Ali and I talk about it. We dream about it. Whatever it was, It knew we were there. Halloween 2014 was supposed to be a chill day. Just me and my best friend Ian going for a run in Van Buren State Park, a park known around Findlay, Ohio for its eerie history. It had always been a little sketchy. Stories of assaults and shady characters hiding in the woods. But we were athletes, strong and smart. We weren't worried. I pulled into the parking lot around 4 p.m. That's when I saw him, an old silver sedan, a bald man inside. He stared at me, not just a casual glance, but watched me with unsettling intensity. I tried to ignore it. I gave him a nod. He nodded back, never blinking, never smiling. Something felt wrong. When Ian texted that he had arrived, I left immediately, not realizing the man was following me. I sped to our high school, heart pounding, and when I looked in the rearview mirror, he was still behind me. I lost him, called Ian, and told him to be careful. But when I returned to the park, Ian was already there, and so was the silver car. We moved to a different part of the lot, thinking we'd shaken him. As we walked down to the trails, I grabbed a rock just in case. Then we saw it, the silver car circling the lot again, searching. We watched from the hill, unseen. He never spotted us. Eventually, we ran. But that face, that stare, stuck with me. Now I'm in the National Guard, and every time I visit home, I still check that park. Not because I want to see him again, but because I want to be ready if I ever do. In my bedroom, there's a storage closet. Not a normal one with a knob and hinges, but a square cutout with a flat door you lift and press into place. When I was 19, something started happening. I'd wake up to find the door leaning on the edge of my bed. I thought maybe it wasn't fitting right, no big deal. But then, it happened again and again. One night, I couldn't sleep. After hours of tossing and turning, I heard a thump. I looked up. The door had fallen. Again. But this time, I heard something else. A plastic bag rustled. There was no breeze, no movement. I turned on the light, and my blood ran cold. Inside the closet, behind the clutter, I saw eyes. A person, hunched, trying to hide as if I hadn't already seen them. I screamed. My dad came running and searched the closet. Nothing. He told me it was a dream. But I knew. That night, I slept in my parents' room. But before I could even close my eyes, we heard footsteps. My bedroom door creaked open. Then, someone ran down the stairs and slammed the front door. We never caught him, but we found his hiding spot. He had crawled into a giant plastic storage bin in my closet, waiting, watching. And had I not woken up, who knows what would have happened.